Well, for this module, we will discuss one of the biggest debates in AI today, open source versus closed source AI and large language models. The AI ecosystem is evolving rapidly, and the decision to open source or restrict AI models has significant implications for innovation, security, ethics, and market control. Open source AI refers to AI models, algorithms, and tools that are public available, allowing anyone to use, modify, and distribute them. Open source large language models provide access to their training code, model architecture, and sometimes even data sets. So examples of open source AI models include MetaLlama, which is large language model, Meta AI. And Mistral AI, which is highly capable open source alternative to closed AI models. And there are a lot of Hugging Face models that provide various open AI models for NLP and decision tasks. And most recently, we have DeepSeek, a Chinese open sourced model, large language model. So open source AI have a lot of advantages, such as it help increase innovation and collaboration. It promotes transparency and trust because open source AI allows public scrutiny, reducing the risk of hidden biases and unethical behavior. It's cost-effective and accessible. OpenAI enables startups, educators, and smaller developers to work with advanced model without paying high fees. But there are also many challenges of open source AI, such as security and misuse risks. Open models can be weaponized for misinformation, hacking, and bias exploitation. There's lack of monetization. Companies may struggle to generate revenues when their AI models are freely available, and regulation and liability issues. Without strict oversight, open source AI could be exploited by bad actors. And what's closed source AI and large language models? So closed source AI models are proprietary, meaning access of their code, architecture, and datasets is restricted. Companies developing closed AI models typically sell access via APIs or subscriptions. Examples include OpenAI GPT series, most recent GPT series, Google Gemini, and Anthropic Claude AI that focus on safe, controlled AI interactions. The advantages of closed source AI includes companies can limit access to prevent misuse and ensure compliance. So it has better security and control. And it has monetization and business viability. AI firms can charge for access, fueling further innovation. It's more stable and reliable because closed models are heavily tested and maintained to ensure quality. But there's also challenges of closed source AI, such as lack of transparency. Users can't verify potential biases, security flaws, or ethical concerns. And there's limited access and high cost. And big tech companies may dominate AI market for market control and monopolization in order to reduce competition. So there's hot debate between these two strategies, open versus closed approaches. And there are some key ethical and strategic considerations. First is security versus innovation. Open models encourage innovation, but they also increase risk of AI misuse. For example, open source large language model could be used to generate deepfake contents or cyber security or cyber threats. And monopolization versus democratization. Closed source AI allows companies to profit, but also concentrates power in the hands of a few. So should AI be controlled by a few corporations or made freely available to society? And then regulation versus governance. Governments are struggling to regulate AI as open source models escape corporate oversight. Can we control AI-generated misinformation if the models are freely available? So if we look ahead and think about the future of open versus closed AI, what's next? So some companies are adopting partial openness, where AI models are open for research, but restricted for commercial use. And global discussions are ongoing about how to regulate both open and closed AI fairly. And some research advocate for nonprofit AI development to prevent monopolization and unethical practice. So this debate between open versus closed AI models presents complex trade-off between innovation, security, ethics, and control. So key takeaway includes of this discussion include open source AI fosters collaboration, transparency, and accessibility, but increase security risks. An open and closed source AI ensures control, security, and business viability, but limits access and raises ethical concerns. The future of AI will likely involve a balance between openness and responsible regulation. So let's dig a little bit deeper into this key trade-off between open source and closed source AI, focusing on 5 major areas: transparency, innovation, misuse, security, and economic impacts. As AI becomes more influential in decision-making, governance, and global industries, these considerations shape who controls AI, who benefits from it, and who faces risks. So first, let's look at transparency and accountability. Open source AI is fully accessible, meaning anyone can review, audit, and modify the code. So researchers and ethical watchdogs can identify biases, security flaws, and unethical behaviors. For example, Meta's Llama model was released under a research license, allowing experts to analyze its training data for biases. Transparency doesn't always mean responsible usage. Bad actors can exploit the open models, the open code for harmful applications. And closed source AI have limited scrutiny and ethical risks. Companies retain control over the AI model's architecture and training data, reduces the risk of public manipulation, but also prevent external audits and scrutiny. So it runs the risk of hidden biases, unfair decision-making, and potential data misuse because they remain undisclosed. For example, OpenAI's GPT newer models are closed source, making it difficult to verify if it's biased or if it disproportionately affects certain groups. And in terms of innovation and equity, open source AI reduces barrier for startup researchers and underserved communities. It encourages global collaboration to solve challenges in healthcare, education, and climate science. OpenAI's early GPT models were accessible to researchers fueling AI innovation across industries. But open source AI lacks sustainable funding, which may limit long-term development. And closed source AI can lead to corporate-led innovation. Private AI companies drive cutting-edge advancement with strong financial backing. It maintains high-quality research and development effort, but it risks includes innovation remains concentrated within a few corporations, increasing the risk of AI monopolization. If Google, OpenAI, and Microsoft control the most powerful AI models, then smaller players may struggle to compete. In terms of misuse and harm, open source AI are more vulnerable to exploitation. So open source models are accessible to everyone, including bad actors. AI-powered deepfakes, automated scams, and misinformation bots can be built using OpenAI models. Therefore, they are harder to regulate, making it easier to generate misinformation, cyber threats, or AI-powered fraud. Open source models have been used to bypass AI safety filters and generate unethical or harmful contents. On the other hand, closed source AI are controlled but monopolized. Closed source AI has built-in restrictions that reduce malicious uses. For example, OpenAI's ChatGPT block users from generating harmful contents like step-by-step hacking instructions. But a few companies can control AI's capacities and censorship, which raise ethical concerns. And AI could be weaponized for surveillance, censorship, or political control by authoritarian governments. In terms of security and privacy, open source AI enforce security through transparency. So publicly available AI models enable researchers to find and fix security flaws. But exposing AI code also exposes potential vulnerabilities. Hackers may reverse engineer weakness. Open sourced AI could be hijacked to create self-replicating malware. On the other hand, closed source AI can enforce security through obscurity. It keeps AI closed source so that it can protect it from direct manipulation or hacking. So Google's AI-powered cybersecurity tools can detect cyber threats while keeping their architecture confidential. Security vulnerabilities might go undetected longer with closed source AI models because only internal teams can review the codes. If a closed source AI model is compromised, the public may never find out. In terms of economic and um, social impact, so open source AI can promote collaborative and global solution. Open source AI models are used in climate research, medical diagnostics, and accessibility technologies. But it faces funding challenges. Since open source AI is free, developers often lack resources to maintain long-term research. Well, closed source AI, it's profit-driven but sustainable. Business model fund ongoing innovation, ensuring AI development continues. AI companies can profit through cloud-based AI services and support R&D. But AI companies may prioritize profit over social impact, limiting AI applications for public good. If AI companies focus on advertising, stock trading, and corporate automation, will AI serve humanitarian causes? So that is the question. This debate between open versus closed AI models is about balancing transparency, security, accessibility, and corporate control. Open source AI fosters transparency, innovation, and equity, but it risks misuse and lacks sustainable funding. Closed source AI ensures security, controlled development, and commercial viability, but it centralizes power and restricts access. The future of AI may depend on hybrid models by balancing openness and security, profit and social good. As we have explored the open versus closed AI debate, it's clear that there are different levels of openness when it comes to shaping AI models. Open source AI isn't just a binary choice, it's a spectrum. Now we will discuss 4 different open source strategies for large language models, each with its own benefits, risks, and trade-offs. The key question is, how do we balance transparency, security, and innovation? First, let's look at full open source. This means releasing everything that include complete code for the AI model weights, which is the final trained parameters and training datasets used to teach the model, such as Stable Diffusion, which is an AI image generation model. It's completely open source, enabling unrestricted use and modification. So this full open source approach maximizes transparency. Anyone can audit and understand how the model works. It encourages innovation. The AI community can improve, modify, and extend the model. And it lowers barrier to access. small companies, researchers, and developers can use AI without restrictions. But it also has high risk of misuse because bad actors can use the model for disinformation, cyber attacks, or harmful content generation. And there's no control over usage. Once released, the model can't be retracted or restricted. Second approach is open weights only. Instead of sharing everything, this method releases only the model weights, the learned parameters of the AI model. The code and training dataset remain private. So Meta's Llama model adopts this approach. Model weights are shared, but not the full training process or dataset. So this approach allows research and experimentation. Developers can use the model without needing high-end computing power for training, and it reduces risks compared to full open source. The lack of a training dataset make it harder to fine-tune the model for harmful uses. But it has limited transparency since the training data isn't disclosed. Biases and potential risks remain unclear, and it's hard to fully reproduce. Researchers can use the model, but can't recreate it from scratch. Third approach is AI access with licensing. Instead of making the model public, access is provided through an API. Users can query the model, input prompts, and receive responses without directly controlling the AI system. OpenAI's GPT-4 is closed source, but available via a controlled API. So it maintains security and control because the company set rules on how the AI can be used. And it enables large-scale deployment. Business can integrate AI into applications without managing the full model. It's easier to monitor and update. APIs providers can fix biases and vulnerabilities in real time. But it lacks transparency since users can only see output, not internal logic. Bias and errors are harder to detect. And it's dependent on the provider. Companies and developers must pay for API access, which limits affordabilities. First approach is limited release for research. The AI models is shared only with selected academic and research institutions under specific usage agreements. These agreements may restrict commercial use and limit modifications. Many government-funded AI projects release model only to approved researchers to prevent misuse. So it can prevent mass misuse by restricting access to trusted institutions and reduce the chance of bad actors using AI for harm. And it encourages responsible research. Scientists can study AI risks without fear of widespread exploitation. But it excludes independent developers. Many talented researchers outside big institutions won't have access, and slow down AI progress. Open collaboration is limited when only select groups can use AI. So putting all of this together, Now we can compare them. So first strategy is full open source with pros like maximum transparency and innovation, but downside is high risk of misuse and lack of control. Open weight only strategy enables research without full model replication, but it has limited reproducibility and transparency. API access with licensing ensure security and control, but it's dependent on provider and lack transparency, and limited release for research restrict misuse and support scientific study, but it limits accessibility and slows AI progress. There's no single right way to open source and large language model. Each approach comes with trade-off between accessibility, security, transparency, and control. Well, open source sourcing AI comes with risks. Many companies choose to make their models public available for strategic, ethical, and practical reasons. So next, we will explore 7 key motivations behind this decision. First is community collaboration and improvement. Open sourcing allows a global community of developers to contribute, improving the model faster than an internal team could. It can enhance quality. More eyes on the code mean faster bug identification, better security, and more robust AI systems. One example is TensorFlow, which is Google's deep learning framework. It becomes a leading AI tool because of open source contributions. But companies can lose full control over its models development, but gain a stronger, continuously improving AI ecosystem. It can build trust and transparency. Transparency reduce AI bias and increase trust and enhance reputation. Open sourcing lets researchers audit and improve AI models to mitigate bias, and it can control goodwill from the AI community and consumers by sharing their research and tools. Meta's Llama models was open sourced to gain trust in the AI research community, despite keeping restrictions in place. While transparency helps prevent unethical AI use, open models can also be misused. Third benefit is standardization and industry leadership. So open sourcing helps companies lead the industry by setting industry standards and control ecosystem. A widely used open source model shape the AI industry and directs future development. When a company releases a model early, it influences how complementary tools, applications, and plugins evolve. OpenAI's early GPT models influence NLP standards, making GPT-based architecture dominant in AI development. But you also have trade-off. Other companies may build competing products using the open model, but the original company maintains influence over the ecosystem. First benefit is driving adoption and creating demand. It can encourage wider adoption and expand market demand. When AI models are freely available, they integrate into more applications and business. As more companies adopt the model, they may need premium versions, support services, or consulting. One example is Hugging Face, as it provides open source AI models, but monetized through cloud services and consulting. The trade-off is open models generate brand awareness, but companies must develop paid product to remain profitable. Well, fifth benefit is recruitment and talent attractions. So open sourcing AI helps companies recruit talents. It can attract skilled developers and build a developer community. When open AI projects showcase a company's technology and innovation, attracting top-tier talents. It engages with open source contributors and help company identify and recruit experts. Many top AI engineers first contributed to open source projects before being hired by major tech firms. But companies lose some exclusivity, but gain a talent pipeline by connecting with the global AI community. Sixth benefit is cost reduction. It can share development costs and leverage external contributions. Open sourcing distributes the cost of improvements, maintenance, and debugging across a larger community. Companies can benefit from free community-driven enhancements to their AI models. For example, Linux thrives because of thousands of unpaid contributors, allowing companies like IBM and Red Hat to build profitable services on top of it. The trade-off is while external contributions reduce costs, companies must still manage quality control and security risks. Seventh is ethical and social responsibility. It helps promote ethical AI development and support education and research. Open sourcing allows wider scrutiny of AI models and helps mitigate bias, discrimination, and misuse. It can also help universities, students, and researchers advance AI knowledge. Ethical AI contributions enhance public trust, but open source models can still be misused if not properly governed. So there's no single reason why companies open source AI. Instead, it's a balancing act between collaboration and control, innovation and security, market expansion and monetization. So open source AI drives innovation, builds trust, and attracts talents, but also raises risk of misuse and loss of control. Companies use open source strategies to lead in industry standards, expand market reach, and cut costs. So ethical AI development requires transparency and community involvement, but companies must still manage security risks. Now let's look at pros and cons, right? So we already discussed about benefits or pros of open sourcing AI models, such as large language models. So it can increase, to summarize what we discussed, it increases transparency and improve collaboration and democratize AI. It helps improve innovation and research. Now let's look at some of the downsides of open sourcing. AI models and large language models. It risks misuse, such as bad actors can use large language model to generate misinformation, propaganda, deepfake, and phishing scams. Without safeguard, AI can be weaponized for cyber attacks or fraudulent activities, and it raises privacy concerns. If a large language model has been trained on sensitive data, open sourcing it may expose personal and proprietary information. It can amplify biases. If AI models inherit biases from their training data, open source then spread those biases more widely. For example, facial recognition AI has been shown to have racial and gender biases, leading to misidentifications and unfair outcomes. So bias in AI can reinforce racial, gender, and ideological discriminations. And it also leads to resource inequality. Does open source AI benefit everyone equally? That is still up for debate. While the code is free, training and running large language models require enormous computational resources. Only large companies and well-funded institutions can afford the GPUs and infrastructure to train powerful models. This means that wealthier organizations still hold a technological advantage and edge, even if the AI itself is open sourced. So we do need to balance the trade-off between open sourcing AI and by looking at the pros and cons. So open source large language models increase transparency, improve collaboration, and accelerate innovation. But it also introduced risks such as AI misuse, privacy violations, and bias amplification. A responsible AI strategy requires strong ethical safeguards, monitoring, and thoughtful governance. So as we discussed, open sourcing large language model presents both opportunities and risks in AI ethics. While it fosters transparency, innovation, and collaboration, it also introduces challenges like AI misuse, bias amplification, and privacy concerns. To ensure AI benefits society while minimize harm, we need a balanced, multifaceted approach to governance, responsible release, and resource accessibility. So response release frameworks is needed because open source AI can be misused for deepfake, cyber attacks, and biased decision making. So we must set guidelines before making large language models public. So there are some key components of a responsible release framework, such as risk assessments before release. AI models should be evaluated for bias, ethical risks, and misuse potentials before being open sourced. And we need to have built-in safety features. Models should have pre-trained ethical filters and misuse detection mechanisms. And we need to adopt gradual release strategies. Instead of full open source, models can be released in controlled phases for research before broad public access. Meta's Llama models was not fully open, but made available to academic researchers under specific guidelines. So how do we ensure responsible release without limiting accessibility for ethical developers is a challenge. Second component is community governance for AI ethics. AI should not be controlled by a few companies. It requires input from researchers, policymakers, and civil society. Community oversight can help detect and mitigate AI risks early. So community government works by establishing ethical research boards and crowdsourcing bias detection and public reporting of misuse. AI models should be reviewed by independent researchers before public release. The open source community can help identify and fix biases. Platforms using open source large language models can enable users to flag harmful contents. Hugging Face, for example, has an AI ethics community that discusses responsible AI practices. But it's a challenge to ensure that AI governance remains fair and does not favor large corporations. Third component is ethical and legal standards for AI development. It must align with fairness, privacy, security, and anti-misuse principles. Governments and AI organizations should set global standards for AI responsibilities. So there are some key considerations such as bias audit, privacy protection, and clear accountability. Mandatory pre-release audits for bias discrimination and ethical risk must be mandated. An AI model should not reveal personal data from their training data sets. And defining who is responsible for AI-generated harm, such as will it be developers, deployers, or users. The EU AI Act proposed strict regulation for high-risk AI models, including transparency requirements. Now the challenge is, can we regulate AI globally, or will different countries have conflicting AI policies? Fourth component is access and resource sharing. Open source AI does not automatically mean fair access. Training large models requires expensive computing power. Without resource sharing mechanisms, only wealthy organizations can afford to train and deploy powerful large language models. So we can make AI more equitable through cloud-based AI infrastructure, federated learning, and public AI grants. Providing free or low-cost computing access to researchers and startups can be done through cloud-based AI infrastructure. Decentralized AI training without requiring massive centralized servers can be done through federated learning. And government and institutions funding open AI projects to support small developers. The challenge here is, how do we ensure fair access to AI computing power without companies monopolizing AI infrastructure? Fifth component is navigating the ethical future of OpenAI. Open sourcing large language model is a double-edged sword. It can democratize AI, fuel innovation, and improve transparency, but also increases risk of harm, privacy violations, and unequal resource distribution. So responsible AI release frameworks ensure that AI is open but secure. And community-driven governance allows AI to evolve ethically with global oversight. Legal and ethical standards help prevent AI bias, privacy breaches, and misuse. And access sharing initiatives ensure AI development is not dominated by big tech companies. As AI models become more powerful, how they are licensed directly impact their accessibility, ethical use, and security. Next, we will analyze DeepSeek's licensing approach, which combines the permissive MIT license for code with the DeepSeek license for model weights. This dual licensing strategy balances open collaboration with ethical safeguards. So first, let's look at code-based licensing, the MIT licensing. So what's the MIT license? It's a permissive open source license that provides maximum freedom to users. So it's one of the most commonly used licenses in software development. MIT license allows freedom to use modification rights, distribution, sub-licensing, and patent right. So first, freedom to use means the code can be used for any purpose, including commercial applications. Modification rights means user can modify, merge, and adapt the code to fit their needs. Distribution means both original and modified version of code can be freely shared. Sub-licensing means developers can integrate the code into other projects, even under different terms. And patent right means the license grants patent rights from contributors to users, reducing legal risks. So the only obligation is that users must include the original copyright note and MIT license text when redistributing the software. So the MIT license allows researchers and developers to collaborate freely, make it easy to integrate DeepSeek's AI into other projects. And Google's TensorFlow and Meta's PyTorch also use permissive MIT license, fostering massive adoption and innovation. Since the code can be freely modified and distributed, so the challenge is how do we ensure ethical AI use? Next, let's look at DeepSeek license, which is model weight licensing. So what are model weights and why licensing them separately? Model weights are the parameters learned during training, determining how an AI model functions. Unlike code, model weights can be directly used to generate contents, which means they can be misused. DeepSeek license key features include permissive use and use-based restriction. Similar to MIT or Apache 2.0, allowing broad usage, modification, and distribution. So unlike MIT, DeepSeek prohibits certain use to ensure ethical AI deployment. So Apache License 2.0, established by the Apache Software Foundation back in 2004, is a permissive open source license that provides users with significant freedom to use, modify, and distribute licensed software both in open source and proprietary projects. So it has permissive nature. Users are permitted to use the software for any purpose, including commercial applications, and to distribute modified version under different terms, including proprietary license. So it has explicit grant of patent rights. It protects against trademark use. So it's, in a way, it's similar to MIT, to the MIT license. And both of them are widely used permissive open source licenses. But they differ in several key aspects. MIT license is noted for its brevity and simplicity. It's concise, making it easier for developers to understand and apply. And Apache License 2.0 is more detailed and comprehensive, containing explicit definition and clauses, which can make it more complex to read and interpret. In terms of patent rights, MIT license does not explicitly address license rights, leading to potential ambiguities regarding patent usage. And Apache License 2.0 include a clear grant of patent rights from contributors to users, providing legal protection and reducing the risk of patent litigations. In terms of trademark use, MIT license does not mention trademark, leaving it to applicable trademark law. And Apache License 2.0 explicitly states that it does not grant permission to use the trade names, trademarks, service mark, and product name of the licensor, thereby protecting the original project brand identity. So it's in terms of restricted use under the DeepSeek license include military applications, harmful content generation, and application violation of personal rights. It prevents the model from being used in defense warfare or military intelligence. It prohibits use in misinformation, deep fakes, and harmful AI applications. AI cannot be used in ways that compromise individual privacy or rights. So why do we restrict model weights but not code? Code is just the infrastructure, and model weights define AI behavior. So use-based restriction helps prevent AI misuse. Anthropic and OpenAI also impose similar restrictions to mitigate ethical risks. So OpenAI R1 model is fully open source with no restrictions on usage. And DeepSeek V2 and V3 balance openness and responsibility, ensuring ethical AI deployment while allowing code innovation. So the impact of DeepSeek's dual licensing strategy on AI community. First, let's look at benefits. So it encouraged open collaboration By licensing the code under MIT, researchers and developers can build freely on DeepSeek's technology, and it ensures ethical AI use. By restricting harmful applications of model weights, DeepSeek prevents military and malicious misuse. It protects individual rights and prevents AI from being weaponized for mass surveillance, misinformation, or personal harm. It also poses challenges such as enforcement issue. Who ensures that users follow the ethical restrictions in the DeepSeek license? It's a problem. And there are also loopholes and workarounds. Can modified versions of model be used to bypass restrictions? It's also a challenge. And it also poses this balance between innovation versus control. Does restricting model weight slow down innovation? Or is it necessary for responsible AI development? So DeepSeek's MIT licensed code base fosters open collaborations, while its DeepSeek licensed model weights ensure responsible AI use. Dual licensing balances innovation with security, preventing AI misuses without restricting developers from improving AI technology. AI licensing is evolving, and companies must find the right mix of openness, security, and ethical safeguards. Next, let's look at another open source framework, PyTorch. We discussed this briefly earlier together with TensorFlow by Google. So PyTorch is one of the most widely used open source machine learning libraries developed by Meta AI in 2016. It has become a go-to framework for computer vision, natural language processing, and deep learning research. So we will explore why PyTorch is so widely adopted and ethical considerations in open source AI development. So PyTorch is an open source machine learning library. It competes with Google's TensorFlow, but is known for ease of use and flexibility. It's used in cutting-edge AI research and industry applications. It powers AI models behind autonomous vehicles, medical image analysis, and language models like ChatGPT. It has strong integration with Python, making it accessible for researchers and developers. So PyTorch feels natural for Python developers. It works seamlessly with NumPy and Pandas. It simplifies debugging since it integrates well with Python debuggers. So a researcher can quickly experiment with new AI model without needing complex setups. Unlike TensorFlow, which initially requires static graphs, PyTorch builds computational graphs dynamically. It allows real-time model adjustments, making it highly flexible for AI experimentation. If a researcher modifies their neural network mid-training, PyTorch adapts without requiring a complete rebuild. It's one of the largest AI communities with thousands of contributors worldwide. It provides extensive tutorials, forums, and third-party libraries. and enhance accessibility. Major companies like Microsoft, Tesla, and NVIDIA use PyTorch in production AI systems. The Hugging Face AI community rely on PyTorch to develop open source NLP models. It also provides robust documentation. Its documentation is comprehensive and constantly updated, so make it easy to learn. And active community contribution ensure examples and best practice stay current. Now the challenge is, does company ownership, like in this case Meta, influence how PyTorch is documented or developed? As an open source project, PyTorch code is publicly available. That ensures AI models are inspectable and auditable. This promotes trust in AI research and reduce bias and unethical AI development. So researchers can examine PyTorch-based AI models to detect and prevent algorithmic bias. But PyTorch was developed by Meta, leading to concerns over corporate decision-making in an open source project. Although PyTorch is governed by the PyTorch Foundation, some worry that Meta's long-term control over its direction. So should large tech companies own open source project, or should they be fully independent? So this is something to debate. Volunteers, contributors maintain PyTorch, raising concerns about fair compensation for open source work. Large corporations profit from open source AI, but most contributors are unpaid. So should company fund open source developers who contribute to major AI projects? Should be discussed. So PyTorch is widely adopted for its ease of use, flexibility, and strong community support. Its open source nature promotes AI transparency, but corporate influence raises ethical concerns. The future of open source AI depends on balancing innovation, ethics, and sustainability. So people might ask, what's the monetization strategy for Meta, given it's a for-profit corporation? So let's look at this. So even though PyTorch is open source and free to use, Meta can still benefit financially and strategically from maintaining it. Open sourcing PyTorch is not just about community goodwill, even though it certainly helps. It's also a business strategy that helps Meta in multiple ways. So we can explore 6 key ways Meta can monetize or gain value from PyTorch despite giving it away for free. First is AI research and product innovation. Meta used PyTorch to build and improve its own AI-driven products like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. And PyTorch powers Meta's AI models for recommendation systems, ad targeting, and content moderation. AI research breakthroughs made using PyTorch can be directly applied to Meta's commercial products. So PyTorch is used in Meta's AI-powered news feed ranking and ad targeting, which helps Meta increase ad revenue. So Meta can profit through AI-driven personalized contents, and ad recommendation can increase engagement and revenue. PyTorch, the second benefit is cloud and AI infrastructure business. PyTorch is widely used in cloud computing, and Meta offers AI computing services. Companies using PyTorch need powerful infrastructure, and AI can monetize this through cloud partnerships or its own AI services. Meta has invested in AI supercomputing clusters like the research superclusters to offer cloud AI services. And it helps with talent acquisition and AI leadership. PyTorch strengthens Meta's reputation in AI and attract top AI researchers and engineers. Many AI professionals learn and use PyTorch, making it easier for Meta to recruit employees who already know its technology. And it also helps influence over AI standards and ecosystem. Setting AI standards give Meta a competitive advantage. If PyTorch becomes the dominant AI framework, Meta shapes the future of AI development. Other companies and research labs build on PyTorch, making it a de facto standard in AI. It also influence AI tools and workflows and allow Meta to set industry norms and maintain long-term control over AI direction. So Meta can profit by owning the AI frameworks and ensure competitors are building on Meta's technology and keep it relevant and influential. It also provides partnerships and enterprise collaborations. PyTorch helps Meta form partnership with enterprises, universities, and governments. Companies using PyTorch may partner with Meta for AI research, cloud computing, and AI applications. Meta can also offer a specialized AI consulting services to companies deploying large-scale AI with PyTorch. For example, Meta collaborates with many universities across the globe, and AI research labs position itself as a leader in AI ethics, safety, and governance. It also leads to AI model monetization and enterprise AI solutions. Meta is building its own large language models like Llama using PyTorch. Even if PyTorch is free, Meta can monetize proprietary AI models and enterprise AI solutions built on top of it. Meta can offer custom AI solutions, APIs, and consulting services to companies using PyTorch for large-scale AI deployment. So Llama models built using PyTorch could be monetized via API access or enterprise licensing. Meta can profit by charging business for advanced AI models, APIs, and enterprise AI solutions. So in summary, open sourcing AI models like Llama boost AI-driven revenues and improves Meta's ad targeting, engagement, and services. It supports AI infrastructure monetization. Meta can offer cloud AI services for large-scale PyTorch uses. It can attract AI talents. influence the AI industries and make PyTorch the standards, and keep competitors using Meta's ecosystem. It derives partnerships and collaborations and open doors for Meta to work with business, universities, and governments. It can also monetize AI models and enterprise solutions by selling proprietary AI models, APIs, and consulting services based on PyTorch.